lovely Warwick Merry, and I'll let people in as they come into the room, Warwick.
Superb.
We are very lucky. Thank you to Kerry's recommendation, one of our previous speakers, that we've managed to reach out. And it was a cold call from me, which he picked up. And I said, look, we've got all these leaders, we've got all these people that need a bit of inspiration and a boost on a morning. And Warwick was like, instantly, straight away, 100% I'm there. So we are very lucky to have his skills and his knowledge. He's an incredible MC. He's been around a long time. He used to be the president of the Speaking Association for Australia. He really knows his stuff. So we're recording this today so we can savour it for prosperity and be able to, you know, utilise this as something that our members can tap into. But I'm going to do what I do best. I'm going to disappear, and then we'll put Warwick onto the spotlight. Any questions, stick them in the chat, and we'll be able to come to them later, or Warwick will go through them.
Superb. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining us here today, and welcome to Danielle, who's just joined us, which is awesome. Hey, look, please, I will take questions as you go. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the chat just to see what's going to be happening. Just to keep an eye on things. So I am yours today because I have basically what I was asked to do is how to be a better online presenter. So I wanted to give you some ideas on how to be a better online presenter. And I usually run a 1.5 hour power session to cover this, and I've got 15 minutes. So it's currently 10:08, so I will go for another until 23 past if that's okay, unless you want to hang around for questions or whatever. So please chat as we go. Let me know what's going on. And so basically, I usually cover the 4 elements, which is all about the environmental stuff that you need to have set up, the behavioural, what you need to do in front of the camera, some of the technological stuff, and the educational stuff. I've got time to cover 1, maybe 2 of those. Let me know which one you want to cover, and I will cover each one. Environment is setting up what do you got to do to make it look good on camera. Behavioural is about how you behave. Educational is about some of the process of going through transmitting education. Technological is some of the technology. So let me know. It's like a little quiz show. A little bit of each. Fantastic. So which one of the 4? All of them. All right. I'm just going to wait for a little bit more of a response. Educational. All right. Let me go through. Tell you what I'll do. I'll do a power drive through a lot of stuff. And if you want me to slow down on a point, I will. So environmental, this is really, let me just cover your setup. Basically, stability. You need to have stable camera. Web camera is not quite good enough. And I know this because I'm using webcam at the moment, and I look at recordings and my quality is not very good. But the challenge at the moment is because we're in lockdown, everyone's gone and bought webcams. So the kind of stuff that you want and need is really, really hard to get. So I've ordered a really nice webcam, but it's on back order. So if you are doing something, and even if you're just shooting a video, it's got to be stable. And you can have selfie sticks and tripods or whatever. I'm a really simple kind of guy. Ask my wives, they will tell you. Sometimes what you can do is just get a bookshelf and get a bit of sticky tape and sticky tape it to a book as it's sitting on a bookshelf so it doesn't fall off. And that'll work. It's easy. Sometimes it's doing better than, the question for Kerry, is an iPhone better than a webcam? Yes. Yeah. The iPhone does a better quality if you're doing a recording. It can be challenging to use the webcam, the iPhone as a streaming device, but it is possible. It is a better quality recording. There's no doubt about that. But if you're using your iPhone, you don't get the computer functionality kind of stuff. So it's a catch-22. But if you're doing recorded video, iPhone is good. There's an app called Filmic Pro that I use to get you a much better quality. You can do both. And I'll show you in a sec how you can do both, but it's messy. So if you're new to it, I wouldn't recommend it. You got to have somewhere private. I think we've all seen this bit of footage where the dude was presenting some economic report and his kid comes strutting in across in the background. It's not really the look you're after. I've got an issue with my dog in that he can hear my voice, and so he barks in response to it. And it's really annoying when I'm trying to do a web broadcast. So you got to have good lighting as well. And it can be very simple lighting. Like at the moment, if I'm looking at your cameras, a lot of you aren't super well lit. Esther probably is, purely because she's in the whitest room with the most lights. It's just sort of bouncing around. But for example, Glenda and Martin, because you're looking down and you've got light behind you, you're what we call backlit. Whereas for me, I've got some big bright lights here. I've got, when I'm not using the green screen, I've got light behind me. So yes, it's a lovely halo, Esther. You're just an angel. Yeah, and they don't have to be amazing lights. It can be a lamp from the other room that you've got a bit of an angle on, or a bedside light that you put in front of you and put either a bit of tissue over the front of or a bit of glad bake, because what it does is it just disperses the light a little bit. So that's something that you can do for your lighting. Most important out of anything is sound. You've got to get the sound right. People will put up with the video. Oh, look at that, Glenda and Martin on the fly. That light is superb. You've got to get the sound right. If your video isn't very good and it's a bit stuttery, whatever, people will still watch because they'll listen and just not worry about the video. If your lighting is a bit poor, it's okay. We can live with that. But if the sound is bad, they'll hang up. You've got to get the sound right. And just the sound on your computer, just using the microphone on your laptop, is not good enough. It's very tinny. It's a bit echoey. And a lot of people will say to me, well, what's the microphone I should get? And the answer is, it's not about the microphone. It's about the room. If you're in a place that's got polished floorboards, you're going to get echoes everywhere. Some of the best places for audio recording is in your cupboard, because all the clothes absorbs all the sound. But it's not the best look. I don't know about you, but I don't want to take my webcam in the cupboard going, here I am in between my suits, you know. So you've got to look at how can I get a balance between the two. So I'm a big fan of Rode mics. They're a good quality at a fair price. The Rode, there's an NT1, there's some other plug-in stuff. But again, you can use what you've got. If you're using your phone and you've got this little headpiece, the microphone on that is good. And you can just stick one of them in your ear, and that gives you the microphone. Stick this other bit down under your jacket so it doesn't look so ridiculous, and that'll do. You don't have to be professional studio quality to start with. I'm a big believer in use what you've got. Too many people go, right, well, I'll buy this camera and get this microphone, get this blah, 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 and they go broke, not doing anything. Start with what you've got, get a few videos out there and go, okay, the people like my stuff. Now it's time to tweak it and get a bit better. So that can be a really good starting point. I had a microphone like this one, which is called a shotgun microphone. It plugs into the bottom of my phone. I had an old one because I had an iPhone and they got rid of one plug and got the other. And that other one I could found with an adapter can plug into my computer. And a shotgun's good because I can step back and you can still hear me okay, because it's right in front of me. If I walk to the side, when I'm over here, it's not as good. But most of the time, I'm going to be here. So that's what works for me. And I like it better because you can get a lapel mic. It's like a $30 lapel mic, a Boya MT1 or something, that can plug straight in. And it's pretty good. But this does the job, and I already had it. So get your sound right. If you're going to spend money, start on the sound. And even if that's, I've just ordered some more, I'll show you in a sec, some soundproofing pads, just cheap foam crap. I think I spent $20. They'll turn up from eBay in a couple of days. And I just get a stapler and just staple them to the walls. It just takes a little bit of the edge off. And in the executive office with the slidey mirrors, that mirror, the sound bounces off. Not looking at anyone, Joe, but if you had that kind of thing, you may be able to just sticky tape this kind of foam to those walls. It'll make a huge difference. So that's the first element. And I'm just barreling through here. I don't have long to go. Second one we're going to be talking about is behavioural. Let's talk about that. The eyes have it. You've got to look at people. And people are looking at the screen, but everyone's looking at the screen, but that's not who you're looking. You've got to train yourself to look at the camera, because that means I'm looking at you. So what I've learned is when I'm talking, I look at the camera, and when I'm listening, I look at the person. And that makes all the difference. And there's a very high-tech thing you can do to help you to look at the camera. You get a Post-it note, you write, look here, and you stick it next to the camera. Can I tell you, it's low-tech, but it works. Because that's where you have to look, and it's a nice reminder, because at the moment I've got two screens open. So when I look to this side, I've got my other screen here, just in case you put comments or whatever. So I'm looking at all of you in gallery mode. I've got my slides here, and I've got all the other stuff over there. So when I'm talking, when I'm presenting, I'm looking straight down the barrel of the camera. So make sure you're doing that. Also, you need to turn it up a little bit. Now, what I've been doing, and you may not have noticed, is I'm not just doing the monotone, blah, 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 blah. I'm going blah, 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 blah. Because, you know, yes, the words are great, but it's the tone that sort of keeps you engaged. It's like when you're listening to, check a politician. Oh my God. You know, so, oh yes, this is a, no, the police officers always give me the criminal reports. They go, there was an offender who went past the alleged, and you're just like, So it's had, because all we've got is this. So if I don't give you something extra to hang on to, you'll be just like, oh, what's on Facebook? Because that's your competitor. It's not other people, it's Facebook. So make sure you keep that in mind. There is something to be said for standing. I don't know about being a human hamster wheel like this dude, but if you'll notice, I've been able to move backwards and forwards a little bit. It just gives a bit of variety, and there's more energy versus being trapped sitting in your chair. And again, I'll show you my studio and the very high-tech way I elevate my laptop so it's at the right height for me. Whatever you've got is going to work. Go faster. If you've got, I mean, like, usually I'll do this in half an hour or 45 minutes or something, and I've got about 40 slides for that. And people go, oh my God, that's so many slides, like that's 1 a minute. And I'm like, yeah, it is. I was on a session the other day that went for an hour. He had 120 slides. So that's every 30 seconds. Now, some of them are just incremental changes, but go faster because you don't want to give them a chance to get bored, because nowadays, if they're bored, they're done. They're gone, and you can't get them back. So go faster. The other thing is the only energy in the room is the energy you give. When you're talking to people, even if you're just chatting with friends, there's physical energy in the room. If you're at the lovely sponsor who's got the fireplace at the back there, you know, the energy of the venue adds a bit of something. But we don't have that. All we've got is what you give and what you bring. So you've got to bring a bit more. But you've got to do it in a way that you're still you. You can't go all Tony Robbins like, we're going to be amazing, it's going to be huge, and here we go. Like, because people are just going to go wanker. So you've got to, and Martin, you might not be able to relate to that, mate. I'm seeing that look on your face. I'm like, I just don't understand. So it is about how do you bring energy to the room that's really going to sort of engage it. Welcome, Adam. We're just barreling through, mate. So put in any comments as we go. So did you want to have a look around my studio? Yeah? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. All right, hang on. Let me just set up my magic. Now, before people were asking, can you set up your webcam as a camera? And the answer is you can. And sometimes there is issues. Oh, hang on, let me do this. Ta-da! All right, so this is you. This is my very high-tech mount to put my computer on. It's a box of paper. I've got a big lighting setup up there. I have this audio interface purely because I do a lot of muso stuff. This is my little microphone. That's my little microphone there, so that's what I'm looking at to get it. I use a green screen. So you'll see the green screen. And mine's on a roller blind. So I just roll it up out of the road. This is another microphone I use for something else. So it's very simple. It's not anything that's too high tech, yeah? So, and people say to me, how do you use your camera like that? It's just amazing. And I answer by saying, Zoom have outlawed it. So in the latest updates, you can't do it without hacking the system a little bit. So what I've had to do, it's a bit technical. I wouldn't recommend it. The best thing to do is, if you want to do a second camera to look at stuff, is have 2 webcams and use a second webcam. Some people like whiteboards, and other people would make it more intimate, will just have a white bit of paper in front of them with a webcam looking down and just draw a picture on the white bit of paper. You can get creative versus trying to do other stuff. Anyway, so that's the studio. Any questions about the studio? If so, throw it into the chat box. Happy to answer any questions that you've got. So just look at your studio. All right, so I've got 8 minutes left. Let me go through. I'll just keep barreling through. You've got to have a strong connection. Wi-Fi is not strong enough. Wi-Fi will drop out. So if you can, use one of those blue cables, the Ethernet cable, and be cabled in. That's another problem with mobile phones. So if you've got Wi-Fi, you'll just see a bit of a stuttering every now and again. Someone else I was talking to the other day was talking about they actually hotspot off their phone and they go, oh, it's not a problem. 10 minutes later, bang, the internet dropped out on their phone. And because they were the host, the whole system went gone. So when in doubt, cable, but also have a plan B. So for me, I can hotspot off my phone. If I'm hosting a session, I've got a second person logged in as co-host. So if I get kicked off, the session still goes on and I can keep doing my bit and get it fixed up and jump back in. So having a co-host is always a good thing. So expect to be kicked out. The other thing you can do is be really familiar with the tool. If you don't know Zoom, there are so many people out there with videos on how to use Zoom and things you can do with Zoom. And you only really, there's the 80-20 rule. 80% of what you're going to use is in 20% of the functionality. But at the very least, learn breakout rooms, learn annotations. Annotations are important because when you want to share an image with someone and everyone draws on it, so you need to know how that works. So that's a cool thing to do. All right, so coming into the final thing, educational, and that is with the sessions you put together, start with the end in mind. It's a Stephen Covey thing, but it's so true. It's like, what are you doing it for? What's the outcome you're after? What are you trying to achieve with this? Now, for sometimes it's, I'm just connecting with family and friends, gold. One of the things that I did when this all started happening and we all got locked up, sounds like more like a fun night out, doesn't it? We all got locked up, yay! As I started a Wednesday group of just giving people an hour to come together and just chill and chat and talk about whatever was going on. Originally, we talked a whole lot about COVID-19. Now we're talking about business post, and it's just been a really nice thing to do. And during that time, it's been a great conversation. So that's my What's Up Wednesdays that I run. But with this, you've got to understand, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to get people to know you? Are you trying to get more sales? Are you trying to build your database? Are you trying to, what's the purpose? Because that will determine what you build around the structure. Part of it is you want to make sure it's interactive. So what we've done is I've asked you questions, I've shown you stuff. Often I'll do polls, so you need to have the polling turned on. You can do some different games. Anna and I were having a bit of a game before we got started, found out what our first concerts were, you know. I'm old. Mine was Simon and Garfunkel. Hers was Pink, because she's young and trendy, and I'm just old. And not that anyone else can relate to that. So doing activities, there were some really cool things you can do with the software. So rather than saying, what would I do in the real world? And then I'll bring that into the software. It's like, what can the software do? How can I make it? What are simple things? Like people can rename themselves. So you can get them to rename something. If you like, pick a number between 1 and 4 and add it to the end of your name. Or you can do interactive, turn your camera on, turn your camera off. You could do funky little things that gets people involved. So do some of that kind of thing. Have more slides. Now, this is a stunt picture in that you might not understand what I mean by it. This is golden locks or Goldilocks. Hey, you got to have the Goldilocks number of slides. Not too many, not too few, just right. And so it's up to you to determine. Now, for today, I wasn't quite sure where we were going to go. I knew what we wanted to cover, and I wanted to give you guys the option to tell me. So I've put tons of slides in here, but I haven't been using them all. I've just been giving you some different highlights. So having that Goldilocks level of slides is important, and it's up to you to work out what that is. And for me, I do my slides in virtual background mode here. I don't use PowerPoint or Keynote. It chews up more processing power and adds a level of complexity, swapping in and out. I've never seen anyone do that smoothly. It's usually, I go share screen, I'm just going to launch it and here it goes. And oh, where's that gone? Oh my God, and it's just messy. Whereas this, I can very smoothly do it. Not so smooth, I have to turn off the virtual background for my camera, blah, blah, blah. But this is pretty good. So that's what I choose to do. It's faster. You got to speak a bit faster. You got to talk a bit faster. You got to engage a bit faster. You got to move on a bit faster, because otherwise people will be going, oh yeah, right. Oh, look, emails come in, bing. So it is about being a bit faster. If you're used to doing a 1-hour presentation, try and do it in 45 minutes, if not half an hour. And I've got to tell you, it's so much better to leave them wanting more. What makes you want to watch the next episode is the cliffhanger at the end of the last one. Tune in next week to find Glenda chasing Martin with pots and pans. It's the whole, Martin's like, yeah, how did you know? But there's always something going on that you can leave them wanting more, so that they go, well, I better sign up to the newsletter. I better find out more about their service. I better find out more. I want to find out more. When it comes to the presentation, is don't have animations. I know some people love animations, so they'll do the whole moving along and just do the, especially with the damn fine NBN that always works and is never a problem no matter where you are. You'll find the animation, you'll lose the impact. And in fact, instead of people going, what a great animation, they'll go, oh, that really didn't work as what they wanted to. So I've just been doing simple slides. Next, next, next. Now, for example, this slide, instead of 1, I could have had 6, and each time add and have presentation tips, then have no animation, then have big and simple. I could do that. And so it's a form of animation, just sort of the reveal. But, I figured you can read. Big and simple, make it, the pictures I've been having are just big. They're just big, simple. You look at it and go, yay, bit of inspiration. The green is covered by my name. Oh, right, okay, yeah. So it says fun. It's all good. So it's big and simple, short and sweet, just like get to the point. I have an energetic kind of presentation, always have something going on within your voice, within your movements, with whatever's going, and make it fun. The Minister for Fun once said to me, if it's not fun, don't do it. If you have to do it, make it fun. And I've got to tell you, I've been to too many presentations where my brain and my buttocks have both fallen asleep. But if you have a bit of fun, all of a sudden the brain opens and the people are wondering, what's he going to do next? What's going to happen next? What other things are going to happen? And so you get them to pay a bit more attention. So that fun is the final green one here. And then again, it's all about the audience. It's not about you. It's not about your stuff. We really don't give a stuff. Everyone in the audience is sitting there going, what's in it for me? Here's where I'm at. This is what I need. So serve them, look at them, consider what they need. Have them look back at you. Like I don't like it when people don't have their cameras on, but that's just that's completely up to you. I've seen people where they've got tons of people online and all their cameras are off. And I'm like, well, that's not going to serve me. I've specifically said, can we do this as a meeting today? Because I want to see your faces, because that way I can tell you're nodding along, you're paying attention, or you're just thinking, should I paint the roof in this room? Maybe I need to, so it's like, it lets me keep an idea. Yeah, good on you, Martin. Thanks very much. And it is the whole concept of present with them and not to them or not at them. It's like, how do we do it and us kind of thing? Does that make sense? Yeah, you cool? Yeah, good. There's lots of nodding going on there. We love it. So how do you feel about all that? Does that make you feel happy and joyous? There's no one out there going, so that's pretty much all I wanted to cover. 10:28, I was supposed to finish. It's 10:29. Not too shabby. Give me your questions. Talk to me. What can I do for you? What do you need? Glenda's got a question. Go for it. Just talk, Glenda. We're going to unmute you somehow magically.
Unmuted.
Yeah, talk to me.
Okay, talk.
I just don't know how to put it on Facebook Live, like use a presentation.
Yeah, great one. Yep. So when you start, there is an option that allows you to stream to Facebook, and there's some settings you've got to tick in to put where in Facebook you want to stream it. Be aware it adds a level of complexity that can make things a little bit messy. Sometimes you might be better using a service like StreamYard to stream it than you are to use Zoom. StreamYard, there's a free version of just, you got to have their logo on it or something. That can be one. Restream is another service that will allow you then where you stream it once and then throws to other people. Again, be really clear on what's the purpose of this. And what you may choose to do is have a couple of practices first where you're streaming it to a private group where it's only you, so that if you cock it up and it all gets messy, nobody knows. Or you just get a couple of friends to check it out.
Warwick, when you say stream to, are you saying from Zoom?
Yes. So in Zoom itself, there's a button down the bottom under more options that gives you a chance to stream.
Right.
You will have to set up your settings so it knows what Facebook page you're talking about to restream to.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. What other questions have we got? Danielle, just because we can't see you doesn't mean you don't have questions. We're happy to take any questions that you might have. That's right, shoppers. Out they go today. Come and get your questions done. Here they are. $5 a tray. No questions. So you're all good at this. You know what you're doing.
Awesome.
Adam, you're nodding your head going, no, I'm just, are you overwhelmed? Don't know where to go? What do you need?
No, it's appreciate all the tips, Warwick, and I learned a lot the other week at the Growth Project with you and Heather. So using the virtual background worked superbly in that. So I actually learned a lot on that day. So you've reinforced a lot of the messaging that I've already picked up. But always good to hear you speak, because you bring such clarity to the use of Zoom. So thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're a little bit running out of time today, but Warwick, how can people get in touch with you, and how can you help them with their businesses? Because this video is going to go far and wide.
Yeah, for sure. So look, the website is warwickmerry.com. For the presenting online tips, go to warwickmerry.com/presenting-online. And there are some free resources there. There's some other resources that you've got to sign up to my newsletter to get. But my newsletter apparently is good. Ask Kerry, she'll tell you. And if you want to, I've got a infographic on how to use the virtual screens behind you. If you want that, just shoot me an email or send me a text or something, and I'll get that to you. So warwick@warwickmerry.com is my contact details. And yeah, that is the best thing to do. Hang on, let me pop it up on the screen. Look at that. There it is, just there. Yeah, I'll get into the position. So yeah, so thank you for having me here today.
Thank you.
But I think the underlying message for any presenting, no matter how you do it, is be yourself amplified. I think it's really important to have that bit of authenticity, as well as you've just got to crank it up a little bit to be able to give that away.
Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for donating your time and people and the kindness. We've got lots of stuff coming up for the rest of the week. So book in tomorrow. Remember to tune in for the next book. Be kind to yourselves today and each other. And lots of love from us, and we'll see you again soon. Take care.
Thanks, Anna. Thanks, Warwick.